Hi everybody! Welcome back to the channel and the series I've been calling Pokemon the Rollout Dimension, a roll for sandwich inspired series where I use this roll table to generate fake Pokemon designs. Last time we designed our starters, Caflian, Aphilite, and Bub. This time we're going to evolve them into their second and third stages, starting with our fire starter, Aphilite. Last time we rolled for them, they are a celestial animal companion. They have wings, they are from the sky, they are red and with a tail. So let's get into it. So this drawing session was a bit of a test in less is more, or a lesson, I guess, in less is more. I found while drawing this Pokemon here, I kept adding too much or too much detail, and that will be kind of a theme throughout this video here that we find. So just kind of here roughing in shapes and trying to find, you know, the pony in this. I found myself kind of very much playing around with the idea of, do I want to carry this kind of bipedal horse chicken along with me? And as you can all see, the resounding answer is no. We're jumping into more of a traditional pony body for the second stage here, and still kind of carrying on that Joan of Arc, Crusader, uh, um, garb of sorts. Another thing I found I was having a lot of problems here actually was with the wings. I did want to keep these kind of squarish wings, these very reminiscent of like a Lugia uh, wing for my Soul Silver fans, but I found that they took up far too much space in the silhouette of the character. So kind of going back and trimming things down and really kind of simplifying the shapes. The kind of themes for this character are kind of very much a follower of a deity who seems to have been smiled upon and is kind of looking down on their fellow worshippers because they've been touched by the light, so they're kind of losing their way a little bit. I thought it would be fun to play with more of like a narrative stretch here for the changes in the character. So we kind of keep playing around trying to get these wings, and we change the feet to these more kind of I guess like almost ballerina looking legs. And this is where we start seeing where the change I did for the wings that really kind of helped along the whole process here. Switching to these almost kind of more pixie wings, because as soon as I knew I was doing a celestial, I wanted them to be fire fairy. I've always thought that is a very fun kind of type to play with. So we end up here with this almost kind of little pixie wing character, little fairy wing character, and I removed the hooves in the attempt to make it so they don't touch the ground a lot now that they can fly. Unlike their fellow Aphilite, um, they rarely touch the ground. We kept the colors fairly simple. I tried to play with the white, but I really wasn't feeling it, so we kind of just dipped back, and here we are. Pione, the pious light Pokemon. Pione are known to leave their flock of Aphilite immediately after evolving, looking down upon their former flightless Pokemon as lesser devotees of the sun god they worship. Once a Pione has taken flight for the first time, they will rarely touch the ground again, opting to float and hover around, viewing touching the ground as an affront to their gifted wings. All right, so let's jump into the third stage here, where we're going full flaming flying horse. I keeping a lot of the kind of similar motifs that I've been carrying through with these Crusader kind of justiciar. A word I've picked up from Baldur's Gate 3. Love my Shadowheart. But I wanted the kind of narrative and if the visuals here to be followed through the eyes of these characters. So the first one looking up at the sun in kind of this blank stare of or a blind faith almost, right? Then Pione, they evolve into Pione and they have this more kind of I'm the chosen one kind of energy. But once they evolve into their final stage here, they realize that the faith they have is like represented through them, or the power of the god that they worship is represented through them. So it's now this form of like self assuredness, and everything is kind of very much these sun and shining motifs, bringing in almost kind of the biblical angel vibes with the multiple wings. And while reading about Pegasus, I Pegasi, I found that their manes and tail resembled more feathers, so I chose to uh, represent that here in the flame tail. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of our final form here. Pegastocere, the soaring light Pokemon. It is said when a Pegastocere opened their wings on even the darkest nights, it can bring a near midday sun. A researcher once speculated that the sun god Pokemon that Aphilite have always revered was actually a Pegastocere's wings in the night sky. Well, there we have it. Aphilite, Pione, and Pegastocere are three fire starters. Please let me know what you think of them in the comments down below, as well as if they changed your mind throughout the evolution. All right, next let's get to our grass starter, Kathleen here. Just a reminder, we rolled a floral knight with an amorphous body from the Arctic, has pink and glowing eyes. Let's get into it. All right, so getting into the second stage of Kathleen here was definitely a lesson on trust the process. Keep moving through. There's going to be some ugly stages. There's going to be some times where you're like, I don't know what a cow is, or what anything bovine simply represents. So when I say trust the process, I mean keep pushing through, y'all. Eventually, you'll get somewhere that you are um, modicumly happy with. I actually do end up liking the design we we land on here. Just really experimenting with these amorphous shapes, wanting to keep that kind of blob uh, vibe that we had with Kathleen. But the lore of this character, I figured, is once they tested their shield enough and they're ready to evolve, they whatever elder Kathleen live in the village kind of arrive and will hammer out the shield into this kind of pink helmet. And you can see a few different iterations that I try to go through this. Still trying to keep that goblin essence for our goblin moss vibes. Another thing I was really toying with here was trying to figure out what would their second typing be. Tempting with grass fighting or something like that. Sort of grass steel also uh, held a little bit, but I really wanted them to be this kind of almost spirit of the forest guardian representative, almost like your green knights, your green paladins. So I thought, what if we did ghost? So they're this kind of like hodgepodge of dead mosses and molds that like have compiled together with this pink under this pink flower to create this uh, sentient guard. So that's when we start. Once I got that kind of gargoyle kind of set in mind, everything really started to come into place here. This is where we, get a little bit more symmetry, make them a little bit more rigid. See, I use the symmetry ruler there to help out with that. And then we just get into it. Colors came really easy. I wanted dark greens to represent they live somewhere cold, and then just bring that pink in, have those glowing yellow eyes to almost add that ghostly uh, zombie effect, and here we are. Oxengard, the Green Guard Pokemon. Oxengard are extremely loyal Pokemon. Once they have chosen to protect someone, it will stop at nothing to guard them. When looked under a microscope, Oxengard's DNA appears dormant, almost dead, and yet they move nonetheless. Alright, so getting into our final stage for our Kathleen, our grass starter here. This one was, I think I had too many concepts going in, and I kept trying to encapsulate too many things at one time. So much like with Peony. I think this was much more of a less is more. Let's bring it down. And I think I tried to sell it too much with the pose. So you can see as we're starting here, my original thought process is again they would return to this elder and have their helmet kind of hammered out into this great axe, having a lot of the lore and stuff I've been coming up with for them based on Bertolac, the Green Knight in the Arthurian story of Sir Gawain. There, so he has an axe in that story. So I was trying to get that to happen, but we opted to. Yeah, we end up moving away from that. I think actually this character it encapsulates a lot of my struggles I had throughout the past couple weeks here, where it was just nothing I was feeling was landing here, and I just was having a really hard time. I was trying to jam too many concepts with this moss ox green knight moldy amorphous thing. So after some time here we do start to get something. We were trying to do this little meltan look with the legs, but that wasn't working. So we try to bring the shield back as well, but I felt that was covering up too much of his silhouette. I thought it took away a lot of the character. But let me know what you think of this one compared to what I end up with, because that was a close second. So my pivot ended up being, what if this kind of oxy, shrubbish, mossy cloak is kind of what their thing is now. It can have that kind of amorphous thing because is it part of their beard? Is it part of their their body, or is it actually just like a green cloak that they wear? Bringing in the flowers from earlier, the shield flower and the helmet flower, as almost these kind of decorations of their success. I think they would only be able to evolve after winning some serious battles. Also, here is a great example of where the flaws of the symmetry tool is you get some really fun cross-eyed looks. So this is where we started to bring in the axe motifs into more of visual instead of an actual direct. So I thought, what if I made the horns look like some kind of great axe or something that you would see in a fantasy game? And that's where we started to get these. We started to get somewhere here. The star pattern from the flowers being brought back in the nose as well. Found myself trying to bring in these mushroom shapes, but I just wasn't feeling it. So this does end up getting kind of trimmed up and turned into something a little bit more armory. And this is also where I got the idea of adding a little bit of like tardigrade here in the legs, these kind of like gooey, fluffy things, because they can survive in super cold uh, climate. So I thought that was just a fun way to add here. Splitting up the shapes here, I end up giving almost like this Christmas tree chest piece on. Also, if you look at the shapes again, the armor or chest fur is very shaped like an axe. Was kind of what I was trying to portray there, having those flowers and mushrooms representing decorations of battle. Here you go. You have a little bit of a stronger look at that Christmas tree motif. Um, but I had a lot of fun with this. I really wanted him to just be this big, haunting, like wall of defense, and I think I got there. So let me know what you think. Vertaliox, the Green Knight Pokemon. Vertaliox are almost always found where ancient grass Pokemon hold court. It is extremely difficult to notice Vertaliox when they are on guard. It is almost as if their very soul messages with the dense Arctic forest they call home. If you fail to notice a Vertaliox before you enter its range, it will behead you with ease. Well, there we have it. Our grass starters, Cathlian, Oxengard, and Vertaliox. Let me know what you think of them in the comments down below, as well as if I captured the challenge properly. I think I did a pretty good job with the amorphous Green Knight, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Next up, our water starter Babub. Again, another reminder that we rolled a sorcerer's animal companion. They are bipedal. They are from the sky. They are pink and they have horns. This one, these guys were definitely a lesson in dropping the bit. Uh, Sometimes you have like you think you have a really strong idea or something that could be fun or a little extra, and it just ends up getting too much in the way. So with this one, I found I was hanging too much on to the idea of, while researching salamanders and stuff as a sorcerer's companion. I have Newton salamanders and all that. I was thinking of the find familiar spell in D&D, and one of the things you can uh, summon is a pseudo dragon. And so while researching uh, salamanders, I found the pseudo Triton Rooper, which is just the fancy name for a red salamander. So I thought, kind of having you guys think that this would be a dragon type going down the line, a pseudo dragon of sorts. I know they are actual dragons, but I thought that was kind of where I had started going with this, and you can kind of see he almost ends up being too much of a character. And I think there is a fine line between a character and a Pokemon, as Pokemon are supposed to be characters, but they're also more creatures, right? We do have these humanoid ones as well, and but even then, I there is a level of bestiality, beast beast likeness to them, and I think I was falling too much into the range of, this is a character, like a someone who's going to come up to you and be like, I have a quest, and that was not what we were trying to encapsulate here. So you can see I toil with this a lot, and I just couldn't get the right thing. It's not until I completely scrub the idea and start working with the concept in an unconventional way, or maybe a less direct manner, might be a better way to describe it. So um I hate the face that I end up with here. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. This face in particular, almost a little too Land Before Time ducky energy. But I don't worry, this is not the face we keep. This is just another one in our long line of trying to trying to get this bit of they look dragony to work. Uh, Almost bringing in some of those Garchomp vibes with the arms. Was a little bit of the mindset here. I was trying to see if I can make them look like they're flying, or they're capable of flight. Uh, Ditch that pretty quickly. Messing around with proportions here, thinking maybe that might be able to have this effect here, and I feel like we start to get somewhere. Not terrible. Oddly phallic, which I'm not fond of. So that gets swapped out pretty quick. Um, so here's where we completely depart, and I start going in a direction I was too scared of going to frog. A big thing I was noticing while looking at salamanders is they're basically just long frogs. Salamanders are for long frogs. 2023. I don't know. Um, so trying to avoid that like frogadier look here, but we decide to bring back that hat shape that we had in Babub, but have it almost be a little smaller. Have this guy be a little more mischievous as we're bringing in the dark type with him. So you can see this kind of shifty eye that he has. And yeah, we're just kind of bringing in these tiny hat features. And this is where I realized we could bring in the pseudo dragon features without it actually looking like a dragon, playing more on the Pokemon. realm where we have this head that is very reminiscent of like a Dragapult or Dreepy, that whole line, right? And then the sleeves bringing us a kind of Garchomp or Gabite energy there. So that was where I thought we could still have I have my little inner head, the head canon there, but it does have a bit more of a canon lore to back it up. And we find ourselves here splitting the tail into this kind of cloak shape was really what I was trying to have it look like, this kind of dark wispy cloak that hangs behind him. A little troublesome smirk there. I tried to get teeth, just couldn't get it to work, so we just ended up with a little smile. These big eyes that can, see in the dark and have a good time within the depths of the water and the dark skies there. We end up going with our kind of frogadier dark blue and lights, almost to give that really hammer in that cloak vibe there. And here we go. Toyolmander, the menacing bubble Pokemon. Toyolmander are skilled bubble magicians, even able to change the element that the bubble is made out of. Unfortunately, this Pokemon chooses to sail in the clouds, dropping foul smelling bubbles on unsuspecting travelers. All right. Last but not least, our final form for Babub here. Uh, this one, I it was one where I got the pose pretty quickly, but just for whatever reason could not get the head the way I like it. I really wanted them to have this kind of dark sorcerer energy as they're holding these like shifting bubbles in their hand, one upside down, one uh, right side up there. And I wanted them to have this almost kind of like cloaked figure hood down, so you can see I brought the shapes in of the Toilmander here to give him this kind of cloth uh, pauldron scenario that you see with warlocks. Yeah, tried to get another kind of flying pose for him. Ended up just looking like a frog in grade 6 dissection class. So we cut that here. Really kind of doubling down on this our frogs salamanders bit right now, but that will change as I really acknowledge the length that salamanders have for their torso, right? I don't think I'm very much acknowledging that, and you can see here we're starting to tilt the head up, add a little bit more pride in this character's abilities now that they are a accomplished sorcerer. Tried these weird fingers, they creepy, did not end up well. So I do struggle a little bit with trying to get this holding bubble hand. Once we add the webbing, it does add a little bit of that depth I was looking for. Making the big draconic or Garchomp looking sleeves go down to these little like elbow things. Again, try to pull away from they're not dragons. They're actually this dark sorcerer here. And you see, we bring up the neck, bring in those horns, and kind of play in with the paintings that you see on lizards and other uh, amphibians here. As we start lining here, I put these kind of accent figures on the chest that I feel really kind of tied the whole thing together, especially with the face markings. We start getting this almost necromancer or lich vibe here as like its ribs start looking like skull. This was another one where I was really tempted to almost make him ghost or psychic, but just to kind of complete the trio with the kind of a lowland set there, we have dark fairy and ghost as our three kind of side types, bringing in a darker blue set to kind of emphasize that. And here we are. Troublemancer, the Doom Bubble Pokemon. Troublemancer are wise beyond their years, thus why they are highly sought after starter Pokemon for fledgling trainers. Rumor has it that Troublemancer collect once every generation at a great whirlpool in the sea, soaring around on their bubbles in synchronization with the whirlpool. All right, Babub, Toilmander, and Troublemancer are 3 water starters. Let me know what you think of them in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed my bubble bubble toilet trouble joke. And if I did, y'all's favorite Justice. All right, everybody. These are our 3 starter trios. Let me know what you guys think of them in the comment section down below. Any changes you guys would have made or alternative names. I would also love if you guys could come up with some signature moves or some hidden abilities. So next time we're going to get back to rolling and we're going to start with some of our Route 1s. All right. I'll see you all then. Bye.